have lots of them right there. Okay. You're going to put your instruments in here. And then you're going to fold the towel over the instruments like that. And you're going to fold it that way and that way. And now we're going to put it in an outer wrapper. Now, most of our wrappers are sufficiently large that when they are opened, they will completely cover the surface of a mayo stand. There are a few, however, in circulation that are significantly smaller, and if you use one of those, when we open it up, it doesn't completely cover the mayo stand, which it must do. So make sure you're using a large enough wrapper that when it's opened, all corners of the mayo stand are closed, or covered. All right, so we're going to put that wrapper here. We're going to center our pan in there, and then we are going to fold the ends of these tabs inward. Like that, like that. And with these, we're going to fold, we can do them more than once because they are so long. What we're trying to do is everything that is going to be exposed should be sterile. And so that necessitates that when it's in this wrapped configuration, no portion of what's going to be the interior of the pack is exposed to the exterior. Okay, so that's the fundamental rule here that we're trying to accommodate. So fold this one again like that, like that. Now we're going to put some tape. We have two kinds of tape here. One is Stera-Tape, and the other is just plain old cheapo masking tape. For just making sure this pack is going to stay closed, we use the masking tape because it's less expensive than the Stera-Tape. We only need one piece of Stera-Tape. We can use as much of this as we want because it's cheap. It really helps, as you'll find, to put a little tab on one end of that tape in order to get it off, and then we'll use this tape, however many pieces of it are appropriate, to ensure that pack won't open up. And usually for a pack this size, 2 pieces of masking tape is sufficient. And then all else we need, and that would be a piece of this Stera-Tape to indicate that the pack has gone through the autoclave. Now, one thing that is really important is that you write on these masking tape what the pack is, large spay, small spay, the date that you're going to autoclave it, and your initials, legibly written. Because if anything is missing with the pack, we need to know who packed it. Not to punish anybody, but if you can't correct the mistake, you'll make it again. So make sure you wrap the pack, your initials are on there. One thing let me back up here. Here's one thing that I see occasionally occurring here. People like to wrap it, maybe they've learned this in practice or something, with a little tab sticking out like that. Okay? Looks very elegant, and the idea is it's like a ripcord on a parachute. When you go to open this pack, you pull that out, really neat, you can open it up. Does anybody see, though, the flaw in putting a tab out like that from what we just discussed?
Part of it's open and sterile.
That's right. When you put your filthy fingers, and they'll be filthy in here if you've handled animals, on that tab to pull it out, you are touching the inside of that wrapper. And now when we have this wrapper all nicely opened on the mayo stand, I don't know that you contaminated that area right there. It looks the same as every other corner. And so I may lay an instrument or a gauze sponge on that. And remember the fundamental rule of asepsis: if something sterile touches something that is contaminated, it is now contaminated. And so whatever we lay there would be contaminated. So omit the little ripcord technique and make sure everything is folded in. No interior portion of the pack is exposed to the outside. One thing I forgot to mention when you're making up this pack, we always want to include a Stera indicator in there, because that Stera tape simply verifies that the temperature of the outside of the pack